make this suggest. We have to know who you are, where you are right now. So in any case, always ask this question: am I a liability or am I an asset to myself? And you answer that to yourself. And more importantly, am I an income-producing asset? Because in your financial part of your world, you've got different environments, right? Give me one more second. This is going to make a lot more sense. In your life, you've got different environments. There's your personal, your body. There's your spiritual self, okay? There's your emotional, mental self, okay? There's where you live. There's your friends, okay? There's your job if you have one. There's your overall environment. People who live in California have a lovely environment, okay? So that's your like physical environment. All these environments, the thing is they're all related to each other. So if I'm deficient in my physical, my body, my physical health, is that going to affect my other environments?
Yes.
It sure will. So your financial environment is no different, right? If you're struggling, any of you struggling in any of these environments, I mean, here we're going to talk more about money than these other environments, of course, but just know this: any environment you improve always has a positive effect on the other environments. Does this make sense? It just does. It just, you can't help it. It's just part of the human experience. So what I'm getting at is the one thing that we're here to help you with, because this is why you came to us, is to help you with your financial environment. Does this make sense? All right, so let's look at that form, and then we're going to take a break for lunch. So I want you guys to look at this during the lunch break. We're going to give you an hour for lunch. And take this seriously. This is the kind of thing, you don't have to share this with your neighbors. Some of this stuff is kind of personal. You want to share this with Travis and Dennis and Kevin and Susan, okay? But on here is up top is the main information. We already know who you are, but your name and address, phone number, all that kind of stuff, okay? And right below that is anything you have right now asset-wise. Real quick, I will tell you, it doesn't matter what you have and what you don't have. We have students that never even bought a house before, their own house to live in. It doesn't matter, okay? We just need to know that. So if we know that you already have some investment properties, it'll help us determine what might be best for you. So in other words, if you say, hey, Gary, I bought a rental, but I think it really sucks, we might have you move into some flipping or some wholesaling. Does this make sense? So tell us what you've got, and tell us not just what you've got, but the experience. What was that like? I mean, they're going to ask you, right? I mean, Travis, Kevin, we'll probably ask some questions about what they currently have, and right, to get that feedback. Okay, really important that we have that. And then down here is all the stuff that goes up here, income and expense side. All right, put that stuff in there. All right, because it's going to relate back to the asset side. We need to know how you're actually performing. You might have some assets, but boy, if they're not performing, you know what's interesting? You know what the banks call assets that don't perform? Non-performing assets. And what's ironic is, if it's a non-performing asset, what does that mean it really is? It's a liability, okay? Would you like us to help you determine those things and figure out how to solve those problems? Make sense? Okay, that's why we do that. So that's that page right there. I know this is a little bit lengthy. You're going to have plenty of time to eat your food and do this, okay? Credit cards, of course, part of the income expense side, excuse me. Although credit cards do fall in the liability and the expense side, obviously, on both. Okay, additional credit and asset information. Think outside the box. What we've recognized with a lot of people is they don't actually recognize all that they have. They're thinking they have a limited mindset. Well, I've only got this and I've only got that. But when you force yourself to answer all the questions, you really realize what you actually do have. And sometimes it's pleasantly surprising. Does this make sense? Who's done our financial statement just in the last year? Were you pleasantly surprised at how much you actually realized you had out there when you broke it all down? Right? I know Kate just recently done one. It's really neat because sometimes you're going to feel a whole lot better from doing this, right? Plus it helps you see the path you're going to need to take to improve things financially. Then down here, obviously, goals and motivation. Remember I said earlier that the big why is really important, not just to you guys, but to me. The reason is when we help you figure out your path, what we call the path of prosperity, it'll make a lot more sense, it'll be far more in alignment with who you are as a person and what your ambitions are, okay? Does this make sense? Okay, all right, and let's see back here, more information on your goals and your ambitions. What's most important to you? I'm willing to bet, actually show of hands here, how many of you feel like I'm like working my butt off and I wish I had more time? Like the end of the day, at the end of the day goes by and you're like, my gosh, I didn't even get to read one chapter in my book. I love to read. So I hate those days when I get to the end of the day and I'm like, it's 10 o'clock and I'm tired. You know what I still do? Actually force myself to read. It's kind of interesting. I know it sounds crazy, but just try it. Always before you go to bed, guys, whatever you set out to do that day, man, do whatever you can to accomplish it. I promise you, that'll make the difference between going through life like this and going through life like that. What happens is it's habit forming, right? Habits are one of the biggest, actually habits can play a big role with your environments. Okay, so what's important to you? And then commit to it. Sign it. This is who you are. In fact, did we take pictures this morning?
Yes, we did.
So we got pictures.
Yep.
All right? By the time you're done, remember I told you when you leave here Sunday, you're not going to be the same person you were when you came in this morning. Remember that? This is going to help us do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's check the time here. Hey, Kevin, anything else you can think of?
All right, now just filling them out as best you can. And
Okay.
whatever you might miss, we'll definitely go over it on the table.
Are any of the guys going to be available during lunch to talk to us if they have questions?
We're going to eat lunch with them. And so
Oh, cool.
there'll be
Okay.
one advisor at each table.
Okay, you guys are lucky. So let's go ahead and take some time. And would you rather go ahead and eat first and then do this and give yourself some extra time?
Yeah.
How many of you want to go ahead and take a break and eat? All right, so David, you want to come on up and
Yep.
keep us on pace here?
Yeah, testing. I have just a couple housekeeping items. Sorry, the microphone takes a minute to warm up when I turn it on. Just a couple housekeeping items. Who here remembers my name? Okay. One of the things I think we could do out of generosity is throughout this experience, if we all make sure we wear our name tags, so that wherever we go, so that whoever we meet knows who you are. It's an experience enhancing thing that I think would help everybody out. It would help me out because I'm one of those people that I'll forget your name and then I'll feel really anxious when I'm talking to you saying, I know you told me your name, but I hope you'll tell it. So I think if we all, I know sometimes it's hard to remember to put it on, but I think that would help everyone's experience if we all make sure we wear our name tags throughout so that we can become more familiar with calling each other by our names and make it a point when you meet somebody to say their name as well. I think it will also enhance the experience. So that's our little tip before lunch. So with that being said,
And after lunch, what we got?
after lunch, we've got Ryan Snow coming in. And so I'll give him a little introduction when you come back. So we'll be back here in, 1 hour?
Yeah, I think we've got, real quick, so Friday lunch. So I've got another section of content after lunch.
Right.
And then Ryan comes up after that. Yep. So we got a lot more content to go through, guys. Just hang in there, give us your best, and I promise you, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. Make sense? Who's hungry? Hey.
12:30.
Oh,
We'll get
let's
back
make it
here.
1.
1 o'clock? So
Yeah.
a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, what's that? That'll give you time to work. Is
Give
this,
you time to fill up.
when I worked on this, Terry, it took me a while. This is what I just gave you guys. We're actually helping you build a financial statement. Yeah, but it involves more of your, not just the money part, but everything. So it probably took me an hour to do mine. So we want to give you time for that and lunch. So lunch is next door, is that right?
Yes, lunch is just right around the corner. It's your first door on your left as you go out. It's where there were some snacks this morning for breakfast. So let's break, enjoy, and looking forward to seeing you back here at 1 o'clock.
Sunshine, she's here. You can take her home. Come on, hot air balloon, never go to space. With the air, happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness in your life. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you